Slow start today. Slow start today. Hello. Hi. Konnichiwa. Konbanwa. Yokozo minasan, etc. I had to grab something to eat. It's a hard day today, so I got all the fans and air conditioning on and all that junk. Not sure if that's blowing on the microphone or not, but hopefully not. So the plan is to, you know, actually write stuff. Would be the idea. Tuesdays, when I'm saying I'm trying to do my my novel work, so I'd like to at least, you know, read one chapter at the very least. Like the bare minimum, read one chapter. Excuse me. I need to make sure to munch something. Mostly because I forgot. Take all my pills. I'm gonna do that right now while I'm thinking about it, so I don't forget about it. This is your daily reminder to take your medication and stay properly hydrated. You should do those things. Very important. Banana. Banana. It seems like I'm already gonna need more water. I guess that happens. Maybe. You gotta get your vitamins. Your spirulactin. Measure out the progesterone for later. Get your iron supplements in. Got all the pills. It's a lot of pills. It is more than one pill. More than one pill is a pretty good amount. It's a pretty good amount. Okay, now what the heck am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Should I change the title really quick? Okay. Let's get ourselves situated. will be our distraction for the day? That's so we gotta really ask ourselves, what is our distraction today? The important things. What your distraction is. Getting that Voice of the Void itch already makes me wish I didn't play that game. It's so satisfying to clean stuff. Make it look all nice. I need to find like cement so I can fix the walls. They should let me fix the walls. I want to fix the walls.
Day Scooby-Doo.
Okay, no. Not that. Don't listen to that. That didn't happen. Oh my god. Why did all this stuff autoplay? Stop autoplaying. Do not autoplay things. It autoplayed. I was just curious what people were saying about this thing, so I was checking the socials really quick. Of course, all the socials have to have auto-playing videos. Can I turn that off? I probably can turn it off somewhere. It's on Blue Sky. Autoplay videos and GIFs. Yeah, don't. Please and thank you. Don't need to compromise myself that much. At least not right now. I can do it later. Why can you compromise yourself later? No idea. No idea. Okay. Let us get in. Let us get us in here. I'm gonna scroll on down yonder. Because we have proof and edited a decent part of this. Stylistic. Wait, why did... Strange. I thought I fixed those parts, or did I not get through all of chapter 1 properly? I thought I got through. I thought I was reading chapter 2 before. How did I miss that stuff? I feel like those are things I shouldn't have missed. Like, seeing the blue stuff is fine. Shouldn't be seeing too much red in these first few parts, though. I probably want to change that part though, right? Maybe just reread chapter 1 again. Can we just say it's all perfect and not have to edit all this? Why do I have to make a story that's so long? How many pages is it when I'm in a novel mode? Always curious. That seems like a lot of pages. Stroke, stroke, stroke. What are you stroking? What are you stroking, Claire? I don't know what she's stroking, but she's sure stroking it. Does this not let you see the amount of pages? I thought it did. Web layout. Pretty dense web layout. Thinking already. Part of me just keeps thinking I need to rewrite like most of the story. It's tough. It's tough to handle. Writing a whole novel, you need to think about your audience. You need to go like, I'm not writing for everyone. It's for a specific type of people that I'm writing for. I need to think about what would be appealing there, while also going like, what reads well to me? Like, I need to appeal to myself and to a certain audience, but a certain audience is the people like me that read the things I read. So in that way, I'm just trying to make a story that I want to read. I have to think about it that way. A story I want to read. So I have to go like, what tropes or things annoy me? What annoys me, you know? I'm really gonna debate that one. Let's see. How far did that push it over? I feel like I always gotta adjust this window. Every time. Actually, is this with the editor up? Yeah, that's with the editor up. No, wait, don't go away. There you go. I just wanted to be more centered. But wait, it won't be centered when I do that. Well, that's just to get to the chapters faster. Well, keep it like that for now. So, like, what do I even want to start with? I feel like I changed the prelude a few times already. I'm not sure if I need to change that more. Obviously, there's, like, some stuff I didn't correct, I suppose. She's never been one for cities and prefers the outdoors. Preferred, yeah, it's supposed to be in. Actually, wouldn't that part specifically be in past tense still? Oh no. Simple reader greeting can be joyous to one, and a burden to another. A poison that first tastes sweet and shifts to ceaseless turmoil. Her fingers twitch, thumb light. I need to stop doing the ing thing. It doesn't always make sense. Her fingers twitch and her thumb glides along the side of her index finger. How many times would she have to hear the words? Even when she covers her ears, they still ring in her head. That's fine. Countship? Pretty sure countship is like an actual word though, right? Like some of these normal words they don't say are like actually real when they are. Yeah. Countship. The rank or position of a count, a territory, principality, province, ruled and administered by a count. Yeah, that is what we want. What we want. It doesn't like those words. Like no, that's correct. I wonder if I forgot to save my stuff before. I didn't think I did. Yeah, real quick while I'm thinking about that, did I actually click on that? Don't click on that. Ugh, everything explodes. Oh no, it actually did explode. I was gonna do that. Don't do that. I kind of want to check my other version real quick. Wait, this is the one that doesn't even have the prelude. Okay. They're very different. They're very different. Me looking at my original rough draft to this rough draft. 10 years of oh so bitter memories. Would always support her. Okay, let's close this. Let's give this a quick read through again with the Microsoft spelling check stuff, just in case it picks up anything Gurmily didn't. And we also read through it, of course, to make sure we didn't make any mistakes ourselves, since the dumb robots are very dumb and don't understand artistic intent. Those dumb robots. Okay. The power of words may diverge. The same words can hold an infinite number of emotions. It merely depends on the person hearing them or employing them. A simple greeting can be joyous to one and a burden to another. Words that are laced with affection, passion, anxiety, and elation. Those words may exist, but what words personify them? And then they say persona. They go persona, and they shoot the evoker at their head. Not really. They crush a card. Okay, no, they rip off their face. They go back and defeat the Jongleur. That's what Persona 2 and stuff's about. Anyway. What words personify them? I love you. 3 simple words can make people's hearts flutter. It can ease a burden. It can cause tears of joy. However, even words meant to spark positive emotions can be laced with negative ones. A poison that first tastes sweet and shifts to ceaseless turmoil. I love you. You love me. No. Horror story about Barney. No. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Ice It's ice right? Ice Many know the serrated blade called love. Many know it far too well. Even now, a girl in her prime cannot help but cover her ears, hiding away in her usual isolated spot. It provides some comfort from the noise. Soft pillows under her, candlelights blown out. Yes, simply sitting in a dark basement alone. Her dull yellow eyes stare at the blackened void of a ceiling. Constant thoughts, constant anxieties, yes. She knew what the words of love meant, like so many others. She knew all too well. But sweetie, her fingers twitch, and her thumb glides along the side of her index finger. How many times would she have to hear the words? Even when she covers her ears, they still ring in her head. I steady. No. I love you. I mean, it's supposed to be like multiple voices, so it could be like, I love you. I love you. No, I don't. Yeah, bro, I love you, bro. That's all of that's all of them. Anyway, when did it all start? The dreary girl cannot help but ponder such thoughts. Within the silence. She can almost see it, those memories clinging to her so desperately. I think I should try and make most of this present tense, and then just make it clear that when they're thinking about the past, it's in past tense. That's probably smarter, because she's supposed to be starting in the present, so it makes sense to start in the present tense. So I need to be careful with that. So like right now, she's saying within the silence, she can almost see it. Those memories clinging to her so desperately. She's specifically saying her memories, so now the following paragraphs, until otherwise said, are the past. The reader is explicitly told that it is the past, that they would have to be a dummy doo-doo head to not understand that it is not the past. Are you alright? Those were the first words she heard. It was 24 years ago. She was only 5. To her, it was the first time she opened her eyes in that place. A new, strange place. People with concerned looks stared at her, a man and woman. Her first thought was a simple one. Why do these strangers show her concern? Back then, she really did not understand. Though what did she need to understand from back then? Thinking of the past felt uncomfortable to her. At the very least, her life now was not so bad. Nowadays, she lives in the capital city of the Empire. A cozy bed, stuffed animals surrounding her, a concerned mother and father. I think I should probably come to Lizard, at the very least, her life now. Life now is not so bad. I don't like that a lot of these things don't catch mistakes like that. I mean, that's on me. I should be able to catch those mistakes, but it's like, I specifically said now, so I shouldn't be able to even follow up with was without getting like, you know, a red or blue underline. Something like that. It's like, it's an obvious mistake. I'm saying that it is present tense, specifically by saying now. So I should say is, not was. Her life now is not so bad. Nowadays, she lives in the capital. I should probably say yes. Now, she lives in the capital city of the Empire. The luxury, how do you spell luxury? Luxury. City of the Empire, given the luxury of a cozy bed, stuffed animals surrounding her, and a concerned mother and father. Sure, her home outside the capital felt warmer, though the capital is not so bad. Anywhere her mother stood felt warm. Anywhere her mother anywhere her mother is feels all the warmer, which made any location okay. She and her mother are always together after all. How warm. How warm she makes things feel. With that kind face and soothing voice, her mother not afraid of skinship to show some concern. Is skinship not one word? Because this one says that it's wrong, but I thought it was one word. Bonding through physical contact. Skinship. Like, everything I see says it's one word. So I'm inclined to believe that it is one word. That's like I'm trying to purposely use a few, you know, fancier words here and there, but I would like to keep some of the narration a bit more tame so anyone can understand it, not lace too much with the heavy, like, bureaucratic talk. Sort of thing. I should say, like, noble-esque talk. A mother not afraid of skinship to show some concern, I will say. I'm just gonna add to dictionary, because, like, it's a real word. Weird. Anyway, the girl appreciated. The girl does always appreciate such clear affection. No hiding, no games. Not like the others who employed those serrated words. Even now, the girl recalls the warm caress on her cheek. Her mother always gives a kind, gentle touch before bed. Her sentimental mother would be on the verge of tears from such a simple touch. Her kind smile, as she leaned down and kissed the girl's cheek, had been engraved onto her. Even for all the bad memories, at least her mother's words were always true. I shouldn't say always, right? were true. At least her mother's words were true. For all the better, well, yeah, I should say are true. Are true. At least her mother's words are true. Sweetie, I love you. Now rest well. The girl, however, could not help but feel a pang of melancholy. The girl, however, cannot help but feel a pang of melancholy. Back at that place, her old home, Silent Hill. No. Her old home in the countship. Her mother used to be extra warm back there. After coming to the capital, even if not terrible, it certainly has its own stressors. The girl can only sigh, thinking such thoughts. Okay, let's see. After coming to the capital, even if it's not terrible, it certainly has its stressor. The girl can only sigh, thinking such thoughts. She has so few ways to help her mother. After all, most of the troubles that occurred in the capital were her faults. I feel like the prologue's starting to feel a bit more solid. I think I've read through this prologue like 4 times now, at least, and edited it several times. 5th time's a charm, right? 5th time's a charm. Gotta get it going. I do tend to use though a lot, so I'm trying to be mindful of using though too much and going like, I don't need though there. I can get rid of that. Trying to think about stuff like that. Though, I don't have to. No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're all just kidding around here. We're just kidding. It's all a joke. A practical joke. Practical jokers. Practically joking. It's very practical. I'm making a novel. Okay. It was around the time the girl had reached the age of marriage. Her parents allowed a year to pass, though the newfound maturity did not help her avoid problems. 10 years ago, that was when the first issues happened. It was her very first time in the capital back then. The first time seeing the capital estate. Who knew she would be there now? Who knew she would still be there now? She knew fewer people and had little to do. She's never been one for cities and prefers the outdoors. Yet ironically, being in the capital made her withdraw into her home, only leaving as needed. Though at the very least, her mother supported her. She made sure the girl had things to read and was taken care of. Even alone in the basement, staring at the void of a ceiling, sighing, the girl knew her mother would always support her. Okay, that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed. That needs to be changed. Squeezing a hand to her breast, girl sighs. Thinking about memories of the past when we did so much, cause more problems in the future. No, I'm using though already. The words fall from her lips like shards of glass meant just for her. Troubles that occurred in the capital were her fault. Squeezing a hand to her breast, the girl sighs, thinking about memories of the past when we did so much. The wandering mind cannot help but think. She is always good at overthinking. So today, she felt she could whisper the words softly in the dark basement. Will I cause more problems in the future? The words fall from her lips like shards of glass meant just for her. What could she do besides think of the past? Squeezing her eyes tight, she lets the thoughts spiral. It was around the time she had reached the age of marriage. Her parents allowed a year to pass, though their newfound maturity did not help her avoid problems. 10 years ago, that was when the first issues happened. Actually, hang on. Let me skip over that really quick. The old memories, however, those lost love still hurt. The words of love scars on the poor girl's heart. Poor girl's naive heart was sitting in a dark room covering her ears. Did it really help? Slowly removing her palm, she takes in the noise. The ambiance of the estate had become her new norm. Her servants stepping over Mother had told her not to mind their broken relationships, though how she not. I mean, I feel like I can kind of just get rid of this whole paragraph, not gonna lie. I don't really need that whole paragraph. That's kind of redundant. The girl cups her ears a bit tighter and sighs, thinking about memories of the past. Only did so much. Her wandering mind cannot help but think. He is always good at overthinking. So today she felt she could whisper the words softly in that dark basement, cause more problems in the future. The words fall from her lips like shards of glass meant just for her. What could she do besides think of the past? Squeezing her eyes shut, she lets the thoughts spiral. The old memories, those lost loves, still hurt. The words of love left scars on the poor girl's naive heart. Sitting in the dark, covering her ears, did it really help? Slowly removing her palms, she takes in the noise. The ambiance of the estate had become her new norm. Servants stepping out ever so silently as to not be heard. The subtle clank of tools from groundskeepers. Even the rattling of kitchenware. Her parents were bickering back and forth about some matter of business. Down below, in her usual spot in the basement, she could hear it all. I should say here, in her usual spot in the basement, she could hear it all. In some way it was stifling, but in another, she could pretend she was not alone. She saw herself as disappointment. She could pretend she was not alone. Okay. She could pretend she was not alone. How disappointing. She certainly is disappointing. The girl certainly is disappointing. An ease of thought. An easy thought to have. Her mother told her not to mind the broken relationships. But how can she not? Letting the noise brush her ears, she closes her eyes. She closes her eyes tightly. Letting the noise brush her ears, she keeps her eyes closed. I already said that she closed her eyes, and the new paragraph I added, so that makes more sense. When did it all start? When was she first tricked into believing those words? Memories of the past wanting to speak, even when she tries to deny them. She tries to deny them. Then why not let them flow? The girl opens her mouth and whispers the spell of contemplation herself. What was it? 10 years ago now? 10 years ago, she was already thinking about. Okay. Okay. I think that spruces up the prologue a bit. I don't see any. Alright. Got any egregious mistakes? Anywhere her mother is feels warmer, which makes any location okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Girl always appreciates such clear affection. Yeah, that is better. The memories of the past wanting to speak. Want to speak. Even when she tries to deny them. And why not let them flow? The girl opens her mouth and whispers the spell of contemplation herself. What was it? 10 years ago now? 10 years ago. 10 years of oh so bitter memories. Okay. I think this might be our prologue. I think this might be like the definitive prologue. The definitive prologue. I feel like it looks a little better. Okay, now, Lady Penumbra. Dazzling yellow. Lemon eyes. Flickered to life. Morning. Claire sat up in bed and rubbed her eyes, a sea of sky-blue hair draping around her. It was a normal morning. She takes her bath, walks to her vanity, and her maid begins to brush her hair, while her other maids begin to prepare her clothes for the day. Living as a noble in the Empire provided a nice life. She left wanting nothing. Clothes, shoes, jewels. She could not exactly complain. She was 19 years old, and had her whole life ahead of her. I should probably make this a separate sentence. She's 19 years old. What do I want to change the sentence to, though? I did not even have to worry about money. She was 19 years old and had her whole life ahead of her. A life where she would not even have to worry about money. A life she did not ask for. Sure. But unlike the story she had read, nothing told her what her purpose in this life was. Reincarnation was not her plan. She was unsure even to call it that. Had she been sent to a new world? Or did she always exist in this one? Regardless, unlike the story she recalls, she has no purpose, no plot line to follow, no original doomed ending to avoid. Claire had been living the life of a noble for 14 years at that point. That much she can say is fact. Though there were clear gaps in memory, maybe her brain just could not process memories between 0 and 5. Scanning her eyes over her soft pale skin, she had to at least come to the fact that she was now some pampered girl. What she did not know was whether she was the real Claire, or if the original had died of some disease. Did her soul take over the body of a dead 5-year-old, or did her memories simply reawaken upon getting sick? Everything had been an adjustment. When her mind cleared back then, she burst into tears. It was awkward leading a new life, but at the same time, being so young, no one questioned if there was even a new Claire. Claire herself, over the years, felt her new parents were like real parents. Her mother and father certainly made it easy, though they did not interact as much as she got older. They worked more. They at least never yell at her. She appreciated the silence they gave her in the mornings, compared to her old life. Lily, what's on my schedule today? I think I stayed up a bit too late. I feel like I probably need to correct the structuring of that a little bit. Feels like it's a little jagged. Feel like I need to tighten it up a bit more to make it more obvious, like, well, I feel like I need to make it less obvious, maybe, I don't know. Like, a lot of these stories, the girl is just like, yo, I'm 20 years old, I got toast in my mouth, and I'm reincarnated, and I'm in my favorite novel. You know, that's how those go. But I feel like I want to make it more ambiguous if Claire was actually, like, reincarnated or not. Because I was thinking that it'd probably be better to make the reincarnation just, like, escapism. Like, she's escaping her problem, you know? Like, she was never actually reincarnated, she just did this to protect herself from the memories she deemed that were overwhelming. She made it fantasy. She was like, oh, I deleted Yeetist those memories from my mind because they were too scary for me, kind of thing. And then I got lost in novels. I was thinking about that kind of way, and I feel like I like that better than saying she was just, you know, honky-tonky normal reincarnated girl. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So I want the reincarnation to more be like, she's clearly not okay. She's deluded. And she just jumps to those conclusions because the only books that her parents let her read are fantasy novels. And I think that would be a fun little like twists around to make it outside of the norm, but also make it still compelling. I think that might be a good way, a good and interesting way to do it. Possibly. Maybe. Possible. I do need my story doc though, because I think I should probably take notes on some of my revisions. So let me pop that up. Pop that sucker up. Boom. Cause yeah, I got a bunch of stuff here. Bunch of stuff. Does not even have an annex. Wow. I forgot I wrote that part. Release and Sam stay together in her office. They share the same bed, but usually just switch shifts for night and day instead of actually sharing. To Rebecca's dismay, sad face. I forgot I made that a point. I actually have notes on the whole entire layout of the estate also for Claire's home, the Penumbra estate, that is. The one in the capital too, in Lorphil. Lorphil. I think I need to spoon feed a few world building things too, a little easier. I think we're gonna see a lot of changes now. But I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to see those changes turn up because I've been reading more again. I've been writing more again, so I think I can tackle some of this stuff with a better mindset and go like, well, originally it was a venting piece where I was just like, life sucks. I don't like these people. They hurt me. I'm gonna write about them and go like, why did you hurt me? And go like, I didn't get any closure, so I'm gonna give myself closure. And that's kind of how it started in a way. I didn't get closure that I wanted for myself. I didn't understand all the intentions of people. And, it's like, well, maybe I can make myself come to a conclusion by writing out the feelings more. I always do express myself in writing, so might as well try. Anyway, I'm gonna take a quick break because I have to go to the bathroom, so I will be, you know, like uno momento, por favor, senorita, etc. One moment. Futatsu? Is futatsu two things? Or one? Yeah, I think it is, right? Something like that. I don't know. I need to do more Japanese practice, but that's besides the point. I will be right back. Okay, time. 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 Came back before the song ended. I think I made okay time. I think I did Daijobu. And then the phone rings. That is not the right tab. Okay, so. Let's see. What do we want to do here? It's a bit sloppy to start, that's for sure. Dazzling lemon eyes flickered to life. Claire sat up in bed and rubbed her ears. Your ears, your eye, rubbed her eyes. Her sea of sky blue hair draping around her. It was a normal morning. She takes her bath, blah blah blah. Okay, a life she did not ask for, sure, but many would like a life without such worries. Yeah, I think just deleting that would be better, yeah. She was 19 years old, she had her whole life ahead of her. A life where she would not even have to worry about money. A life she did not ask for, sure. But many would like a life without such worries. Claire had been living... At that point, she had been living the life of a noble for 14 years. That much you can say is fact, though there were clear gaps in her. She did. That much you can say is fact. She did have some gaps in her memory now and again. Though everyone lets repeated things slip their mind, scanning her eyes over her soft, pale skin, she had to at least come to the fact that she was now some pampered girl. Going to try and separate the section that I think I need to edit more. Okay, so I'm thinking about we need to edit something in here. Oh no, it doesn't highlight it. From scanning to her, scanning to her, scanning to her. Scanning her eyes over her soft pale skin, she had to at least come to the fact that she was now some pampered girl. Actually, I can get rid of that part too. Actually, she was 19 years old and her whole life. I don't know. Life should not act so on, but many like a life without such worries. Scanning her eyes over her soft pale skin, she had to at least come to the fact that she was now a pampered girl. At that point, she had been living the life of a noble for 14 years. That much you can say is fact. Back then, she'd been living the life of a noble for 14 years. Not much you can say is fact. Claire's dressing maid's finish. Claire's dressing maid's finish, and she quietly speaks to her personal maid. Quietly spoke. That day continued as normal. Claire's dressing maid's finish, and she quickly spoke to her personal maid. Quietly spoke to her personal maid, Lily. Lily, what's on my schedule today? I think I stayed up a bit too late. Claire's main was Lily. Claire's personal maid, Lily, was a woman with short brown hair and brown eyes. Her maid uniform is standard black. Okay, let me read. Her main uniform is a standard black dress with white apron and brown loafers. Lily was only 10 years older than Claire, so chatting was not that awkward. Lily, however, was professional, and she kept to her job rather than idling with small talk. Lord Daniel is waiting in the drawing room. He's over an hour early, so do not rush yourself. Make sure to have breakfast first. Keeping things straightforward could be nice. Keeping things straightforward is nice. After all, many servants would worry about saying anything at all. In the present day, Claire can say it for sure. She misses Lily. Not that her thoughts need to veer off from the subject at hand. Lord Daniel Ciaris, Marquis of the Empire in which Claire lives. He was in fact the first to use the serrated words against her. Dun dun dun. Let me see. Let's see. I want to make sure I have these characters' names written down and their rank. Amicus of the Valtar Kingdom, bright blue eyes, short black hair. Claire remembers him wearing black and red. At the ball, he wears black and white. Is from Dragon Gulch, and controls Drakengard as well. Sea Mages Claire and their brief love history is when Claire is 25. They're called Sword of the Baron. Update the old dossier. The character files. Dun dun. Okay. Not that our thoughts need to veer off the subject at hand. Lord Daniel Ciaris, a Marquis of the Empire in which Claire lives. Dun dun. He was the first to use the serrated words against her. Claire did not know exactly when it had started. The day along the noble market street was the most probable point. It was the first day she had met Daniel. She was surprised that Daniel showed her interest. Daniel had showed interest in her. Usually males of Marcus status go after their choice of noble ladies, though she could only assume Daniel wanted support of her house. Her household was certainly impressive. Claire's mother is the Countess. Her father is simply a merchant whom... Wouldn't whom be the correct word? The objective case of who? What person or people? I mean, I feel like that's correct. Her household was certainly impressive. Claire's mother is the Countess. Her father is simply a merchant, and was originally a commoner. A woman leading the family is not unheard of, though some may be shy of the subject. Claire's mother, however, seemed fine showing off such a rare title. Many noble ladies apparently look up to the Countess now, and that way, Claire is expected to inherit the title. It made sense. Lord Daniel most likely expected a good bit. Made sense then. It made sense then. The interest in her could be rationalized. How useful she is. Daniel most likely expected a good bit. Daniel most likely expected a good bit from her. If she marries into a higher rank of nobility, it would give a claim to both houses if they sire heirs. It seemed in this case Claire stood to benefit. She could not understand why. Should I capitalize Marcus? I don't know. I'm gonna capitalize Marcus. I feel like since it's a title, I should capitalize it. But I don't know. It is a title though. But then I should capitalize Countess also. Well, we'll get back to that. The interest in her could be rationalized by how useful she could be. How useful she would be. Daniel most likely expected a good bit from her. If she marries into a higher rank and nobility, it would give a claim to both houses if they sire heirs. It seemed in this case, Claire and Marcus both stood to benefit. Apparently, to Claire's surprise, Marcus Daniel wanted to court her at first sight. though rationalized logic was not Lord Daniel's driving force. Apparently, to Claire's surprise, Marcus Daniel won. I should change that to Marcus, if I'm going to do it like that, right? Marcus Daniel wanted to court her at first sight. Amusing as it was, things somehow developed from there. From there, it progressed into outings, then meetings for casual meals, and then a formal meeting was requested. Daniel was a young Marcus who only inherited his title recently, after his father passed away. Oh yeah, I should probably write that in there too. Okay. Daniel's a young Marcus who only inherited his title recently, after his father passed away. He had met Claire's parents at noble meetings, though he had not come to the house formally. The most he had done was lead Claire to the door. The Marcus at that time had yet to come to the house formally. The most he had done was led Claire to the door. At least, not till today. I wonder what he has planned today. Claire recalls muttering those words to herself as she twirled a strand of her long sky-blue hair. The dressing maids cannot help but giggle at the comment, but Lily simply listens. You've dressed me a bit formally, Lily. Was he wearing formal wear? Lily nods carefully and gestures to the other maids so they leave the room. Your meal, Lady Penumbra. Shall I set it at the terrace table, or we take it at the gazebo? Claire did not understand why, but Lily always gave a strange, averting gaze whenever she avoided questions. She could have just said she did not want to answer such comments. Claire was not going to judge her if she said Daniel looked tacky. She was just curious, after all. Claire could remember rolling her eyes and giving a simple nod. Though she thought Lily odd, it seemed to be how many nobles and commoners differed. A line that could not be crossed. Though Claire could not say she had heard of servants being killed for simple comments. Maybe she's overstepping her friendly banter. Lily was professional, and Claire had to accept that. Fine, fine. I'll eat. Thus Claire nods and raises her quiet. Thus Claire nods and raises her quiet, noble voice. Fine, fine, I'll eat. Shaking her head, she followed up with a whisper. You worry far too much. She could have admit she still felt a bit childish back then. Her comments were probably a bit too brash at times for a noble lady. Hindsight tended to work like that, did it not? She had to have made Lily feel. She had to have made Lily uncomfortable. Regardless, back then, as her foolish self, she closed her eyes and pictured where she would eat her meal that day. Take it to the terrace, please. The weather is rather pleasant this morning. Take it to the terrace, please. The weather is rather pleasant this morning. I'd like the window opens, feel the breeze, and see the flowers from above. It was a normal day like any other. Eating a meal and looking over the garden. Wearing a beautiful gown. Claire would complain about the corsets at times, but they usually were not pulled tight enough to cause damage. Wearing a beautiful gown. Claire would complain about the corsets at times, but they usually were not pulled tight enough to cause damage. To her joy. With the meal finished, Claire entered the drawing room. She could see her new lover sitting there happily, as if he were watching the door. He was 25, with short black hair and bright blue eyes. His garb was indeed formal, a black suit with some traces of red on it. It was simple but dashing, easy to poke out other features like how he was a good few inches taller. Lady Penumbra. He smiles a weary smile. It makes Claire turn her head and question, but she still holds her hand to him, letting him kiss her middle knuckle. While you were getting ready, I was talking with your parents at length. His voice is deep, but to the point. He could snicker like anyone, but Claire could tell he liked to make sure his words meant something instead of being artificial like most nobles. They said it was acceptable. Back then, she never thought about it. Why did he look so drained after talking with her parents? Her mother and father could be rather overprotective. Suddenly, the Claire of the past did not think about that exhaustion. Instead, Claire sat down across from Daniel and watched him closely. He was oddly different than... Suddenly, the past Claire did not think about that exhaustion. Instead, Claire sat down across from Daniel and watched him closely. It was oddly different than normal. Whatever she thinks of this moment, she can only sigh, not picking up the warning signs. Oh. Okay, wait. Hold up. Status acceptable. Claire sat down across from Daniel and watched him closely. It was only different than normal. Whenever she thinks of this moment, she can only sigh, not picking up the warning signs. He was tired, not just weary. Not just his weary smile, but his eyes too. Her parents could be exhausting since they're always making deals. Deals? Of course, being overprotective of her as well. That was what she thought then. They could both be a bit pushy. But they ease up around her, meaning Daniel got the brunt of those exhausting negotiation nobles. Instead of the warm mother and father she knows. So with a kind smile on her lips, she decided it was best to show some concern. I hope father did not hassle you. You seem tired. Would you like... Daniel shakes his head and fiddles with the inside of his pocket. No. It's not that. I just stayed up because I was nervous. Rubbing the side of her cheek, Claire had let out probably just as nervous chuckle. Well, you know me. I usually sleep badly from reading too much. Oh, how she loves reading. My mother always got upset about how many My mother always gets upset about how many candles I used as a child. Alright. Never mind. God was fine there. She was telling a story. My father always got upset about how many candles I used as a child. Not that I don't still use a lot now, but maybe her rambling is what bothered people. If she talked less, maybe it would help. She would have thoughts like that often, but She would have thoughts like that often, and would pause because of them. But Daniel smiled and waited for her to finish. Really, back then, she was laughing at silly thoughts, speaking to Daniel like a childish lady in love. Sorry. A nervous giggle, an apology to smooth things over, and pick up from where she left off. It's kind of silly. I think my father got... I think my father used to get jealous of those candles. I was paying them more attention than him. Surprised he never got mad at books, too. Oh, I'm getting the tired feelings. I did more than I thought I would already, so I guess that's good. Whenever I do more, that is better than doing less. Just saying. Just super saying. And goes on. Let's see. Let's see. I could do that, but I don't know. Let's stop and think. You're in my dreams. Xenoblade music is so good. I forgot I still had this up really loud too. And it's fine, it can be up loud. I like the song. I'm just proving an ending anyways. Who cares? Her father had to be jealous of the candles back then. He didn't tend to dote on her too much. The thought was enough to carry her chortle. After all, she surely had upset him more in the present, but probably more with the expense. How did I get my cursor up there? Why am my cursor up there? or the expenses. One day, her father gave her a gift. Special candles to help her fall asleep. Ones that could give a pleasant scent and still provide a little reading light before bed. Her mother even gave her more later. They both must have felt a little neglected when she was binge reading her time away. Still, how caring they are. Back then, they must have wanted her to think of them when using those candles. In the present, it has certainly become a staple. Hopefully the expenses are not too much. For Daniel, back then though, she wanted to share their silly thoughts, stories of her and her parents more. Like any silly girls in love. Like the characters in books she read. She reads. I really should tell you about the time. Daniel cleared his throat and took his hand from his pocket. Claire. She was cut off from saying more. Down on one knee, the man must have had something important to say. A jewelry box in hand, he popped it open, a shining ring with a soft-colored blue jewel inside. I came here today because, well, I love you, Lady Claris Penumbra. Of Countess Penumbra's family. Will you accept this ring as a token of engagement? So we may get married and have a life together in the future. That was the first time Claire said yes. She ran into his arms and let the ring slip onto her finger. She fell for the trap. Very many doo-doos. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Or something like that. Let's see. Tick tock, tick tock. When did the noise, that ambience, sound so loud? Even as months passed since she got engaged, Claire could not help but ponder such a thought. When the voices stopped, somehow the silence would sound so loud. Her stay at the Marcus's estate felt far too silent. No, that's called tinnitus. She had slept there for a month, in a separate room. She had one servant, and the Marcus had one. Yet the mansion was far larger than the Countess's. When she asked why there were not more servants attending the estate, the response was that they were simply not needed. It was true that it could be seen as a waste of money. Claire could only assume that, instead of tending to the estate. Daniel must put his assets toward the people of his land. How noble. It was not like she required servants anyway. Her original... Having just one maid at her side was enough pampering. Still, she could not help but feel like it was all just odd. Did it start that night when they said goodnights? Yeah, night. A simple goodnight from Daniel. It felt off from what he would usually say. The next morning, Claire got up, but no servant was there to greet her. A walk through the halls in her slippers greeted her with more silence. That is when she went to Daniel's office. Walk through the halls in her slippers greeted her with more silence. Okay. The next morning, Claire got up, but no servant was there to greet her. A walk through the halls in her slippers greeted her with more silence. Those halls of marble, carpet, vases, and pillars for support. The estate, for as much space as it had, clearly had dust and cobwebs in those lavish halls. That is when she went to Daniel's office. She stepped into the office, and he was there, as usual, writing on his desk. Knock knock, Mr. Aris. Her lips smile when speaking, but Daniel does not lift his head. I think I should change the phrasing of that. Knock knock, Daniel? Her lips smile speaking, but Daniel does not lift his head. Marcus Aris. His words come out pointed, and his pen stops. You're just like them, aren't you? Daniel's eyes glare at Claire, and her body freezes. That look was something she could remember from her old life. That look was something she could remember. A look that always bothered her. Eyes like daggers. Mouth like it would shout at her if she said the wrong thing. Freezing up. Being silent. That tended to be the answer. Though then, she thought it was a mistake. She blinked at the sudden hostile tone. Though the words felt hard for her to find, she could not freeze, she had to speak. That was what she thought. Her nails dug into her palm. She could remember the feeling, something to brace, to give her focus. Yet even with that, her voice comes out soft. Her voice comes out shaken. Did... She could not stutter. That was what she told herself. She could not cry either. It would be okay. She just had to check things. Even if quietly, she had to check. I do something wrong? And then you go slam, get into the jam. All about the Space Jam. Of course you did! Daniel's voice rose, and he shook his head. I can't believe you. Claire tried to speak again, but Daniel lifted his hand. She could only silently think. He wouldn't, right? You... You were about to ask what you did, weren't you? Claire tried to speak again, but Daniel lifted his hand and silenced her. The gesture alone makes Claire flinch, that usual gesture to make her not speak. You don't even have remorse. You think you didn't do anything wrong. He shook his head again and again. He was angry, but Claire was not sure why. Then he did it again. He slammed his fist against the table. It made Claire's body shiver. Get out, and keep your filthy ring. I don't want it back. Oh, get told, girl. No, that's very sad. Even as her body trembled. No. Even as her body trembled from anxiety. She thought he got mad at something else. A simple overreaction, just like her heart beating so fast. Things will get better. They will be normal tomorrow. She went to bed that day the same as usual. When she woke up, however, the mansion was empty. The estate grounds seemingly barren. Her belongings were already packed onto a carriage. She knew those were the last words she would hear from him. What did I do?
After 10,000 years, I'm free! Time to conquer Earth!
Hey, Tiger. Hope you're doing alright. Were you writing anything today? Claire could recall the sinking feeling she had felt that day. What did she do? Why was she wrong? Why wasn't she enough? A first love can be a flickering flame. That was what Claire's mother said. As more months passed, new years passed with it. Awakened by her. Yeah. I try to not make it too loud, but then it's just like, if it's not loud, I'm not gonna hear it myself, so... Why not, right? Why not? Here, I'll turn my music down a little bit. I always speak so softly sometimes, but I'm just proofreading and editing currently, so... Usually have my music turned up a little louder. Stream's going okay. I did some writing like last week, and finished up a short story, and I was like, man, felt good to finish that short story. I think I can finally start working on my novel more again. So I've been trying to proofread and edit more of my novel. I have been editing a good bit of it. I wish it was easier. I keep going like, oh, I accidentally used past tense when I needed to use present tense, and then I'm like, oh, now I use present tense when I needed to use past tense, and it's torture. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I look back at my original rough draft and go like, yeah, this one's already a lot better, but still. Boy, it's a process. It is a process. by my friend that I had been streaming with the last time you raided. They're still working a bit on my commission for my cover for this novel, and I think that's turning out pretty nice. She's doing some neat work with the background, and I'm liking how she's doing my character's hair. I think it looks kind of cool. It's got like drifts into dark blue. I think it's kind of neat. Because it's supposed to be like sky blue color, but it's like, it starts as like the sky blue and then kind of like drifts into like a waterish blue. Even though that water's technically not blue, it's the sky reflecting off. It doesn't matter. It looks cool, is the point. It looks cool. Anyhow, I grew up with Power Rangers, so I didn't really need to have a raid announcement thing, but I was like, I'll just put it there. I have like a follower thing that is a little Spyro Doodle Bop. For some reason, it's a little robot guy from Spyro 2's level, but I have a voice clip from the first level in Spyro 2 for Glimmer. Not that it matters much, but probably should have done that more effectively. Random thought to have right now. Anyway, a first love can be a flickering flame. That was Claire's mother. That's what Claire's mother said. As more months passed, New Year's passed with them. Her parents were mindful to invite her friends who would help her move on. New experiences would come. That was what her mom would always... Oh, whoa. Always call her mother with a capital M. Calling her mom is not okay. That was what her mother would always say. New experiences would come. That is what brought about the second time. That is what brought about the second time. And that's fine. It's fine. Should I change that part? That sounds a little weird. Her parents were mindful to invite her friends who would help her move on. I feel like I should change that. Her parents were at least mindful to invite her friends to the estate. Her parents were at least mindful to invite her friends to the estate. They knew she needed some support to help her move on. New experiences would come. Okay, that sounds a bit better. So anyways, brought about the second time, a man on their knee, a ring box, and those words. Oh no, what voice should I try for this one? I haven't done that many voices lately. Besides Voices the Void. Haha, that's a bad joke. Let's see. I mean, generic guy voice is still usually the easiest, though. And I'll just keep doing that for now. I, Vanny Ray, the Sword of the Baron, wish to ask an engagement of you, Lady Claire Espinembra. Should add the other title in there. The Sword of the Baron, the Glade Knight. Capitalize it, because it's a title. Wish to ask an engagement of you. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Claire and Vaughn had been friends for years. She could not help but smile at the offer. After all, they promised each other that if they hit 25 and still had no one, they could at least have each other. Always a good way to start a relationship. The dates started normally. Going to the theater, sharing long walks, and finding small games to play with one another. If love could not happen at first sight, surely it could happen with such a beautiful friendship. In no way foreshadowing for something terrible. That was why the words excited her. I love you, Claire. Let's make our friendship last a lifetime, as husband and wife. She said the words so much to Daniel, yet it amounted to little. Love was not something to give so loudly. So this time, Claire said the words softly, with a smile on her lips. I love you too. Just as before, the months began to tick away. Began to tick away. Haha, I corrected it already, and I still said it wrong. The summer air began to get crisp. The rain began to fall. Kind of funny, because I knew someone that had a... Well, I'm pretty sure she still uses an artist handle, but Rain Will Fall artist handle. She's a good artist. Go commissioner or something, I don't know. The two were some distance apart, but they would send letters constantly. Letters of love, letters about daily events, drawings of emotions, words of worry. It made it all the sweeter when they could meet in person, to have more of their nights at the theater, and their days in the garden playing cards. Oh yeah, this is, they're about to get over that hill. Should I separate that into two sentences? Made it all sweeter when they could meet in person to have... Let's see. I think I can make that. To meet in person. Made it all the sweeter when they could meet in person, to have more nights at the theater, and their days in the garden. To have more nights, theater, more days in the garden playing cards. They were friends who knew much about each other, having shared years together. They shared about past relationships, about their worries, and they shared their love, with tender looks and faint whispers. The past, though, has a funny way of repeating itself. I can't believe you. Maybe that was why hearing the words again made Claire's throat tighten. You're really like this? You manipulative piece of rubbish. I don't know, would trash be better? Or does rubbish work better? I mean, I think like old-timely, you'd probably say rubbish, right? But we're also not Europeans, so, you know, I don't need to say rubbish. Like the rubbish bin, like, I just call it a trash can. I could use something that's more... that has a little more disdain in it, I guess. I could use garbage. That's true. I could just use garbage. Manipulative piece of garbage. You manipulative piece of garbage. Yeah, I feel like that one sounds a little better. Like, not better, but worse. And I want it to sound worse. It sounding worse is helpful. We want it to sound a little worse. That's great. But do I want to change that at all? think drawing back to the illusion of this would be worth it. How do I want to phrase this? Felt serrated. Vaughn's words felt as serrated as those words of affection. You're really like this? I think I should separate that and add another descriptor in also. I think that'd make more sense. To break up the, you're really like this? And then have it go like, you know, like... if you got an angry person yelling at you, you're probably going to notice a few things, right? This is supposed to be established on like tender looks, faint whispers, yada yada, so now irony of immediately after they're not being tender and they're not being whispery. they're being yelly and mean. They're being big fat duty heads. But you can't really call them duty heads. Let's see. I think maybe this works better. We call back to the person's title, because we can probably, I mean, we make mention to it, so I figure we can probably use that in a later volume, or at a later part in the story, even. We don't want to Chekhov's gun us too badly. I think this framing, it might be a little fun to give the contrast of Claire's thoughts to the person that is, you know, yelling at her, making her feel bad. You're really like this? The Glade Knight did not need to brandish a sword. His words were certainly, "You manipulative piece of garbage," enough to kill any foe. I don't know, I feel like I could use a more eloquent insult, so you can say that a little easier. You manipulative piece of garbage. I don't know. It sounds a little weird. It's like not bad, but I don't know if it flows as a proper insult. I think it's just more the manipulative word. I could change it to conniving. You conniving piece of garbage. Conniving piece of trash. I don't know, conniving piece of trash might be better. Conniving piece of trash. I don't know, just conniving work. Acting together in secret. Toward a fraudulent illegal end.
Conniving.
Used a person. I'm thinking if conniving would work best. I mean, I suppose technically it works. I feel like conniving would be easier to say in normal speech, so the dialogue would make more sense. And this person's supposed to be working for a baron and they're a knight, so they don't need to use more eloquent words like garbage. They could just say trash. So I do think that actually isn't that bad. I mean, it's implied that they write, but we don't know how they write as the reader, etc. So we don't know how educated they may or may not be. So I think having them say, "You conniving piece of trash," would make more sense. You conniving piece of trash. Yeah, I think that works better. I think that feels a bit more in line with the character. Anyway, Claire was scared. And Daniel said something like that before as well. It had to be a mistake. Something had to be wrong. She had cleared her throat, thrust her heel down, and brushed away the false claim. I'm not sure what you're currently speaking of, but I'll have you know. I've been in a situation like this before, and I have no intention of doing any harm. This must be some sort of misunderstanding caused by a lack of communication or a bit of bad knowledge. Sure, we can come to some sort of misunderstanding, just like we always do when we've had some fights before we... She's supposed to be saying it really fast. That's where there's no punctuation in this one. I'm not sure what you're currently speaking of, but I'll have you know I've been in a situation like this before, and I have no intention of doing any harm. This must be some sort of misunderstanding caused by a lack of communication or a bit of bad knowledge. Surely we can come to some sort of understanding, just like we always do. We've had some fights before, though never yelled then, so I know you're... Yes. That works better. Stop! As Claire rambled out her words, without taking a breath or pause, Vaughn's face twisted in greater disgust. I can't believe my sister liked you. My family said you'd be good for me. Don't make me laugh. Don't you dare ever show your miserable face to me again. Vaughn left that day, and Claire gazed at the recently cut down trees in her garden. They were growing too large, and the roots were starting to ruin the foundation of the mansion. Her mother said such things happen. Those that used to be admired, but then became overgrown, need to be cut down. If not, it risks harming the house. She gazed for a long time. The stumps were fresh. Sawdust settled against them. What if her life only amounted to firewood? She'd stayed there that day, in the garden, till tears began to run down her face, till the sun set. Did you really think I could ever hurt you? Looking back on those memories, Claire could only think it must be ignorance. She lacks experience. She has trouble making eye contact, and she fidgets too much. When speaking to someone she knows well, she has a problem talking too long without getting to the point. It was always her fault. It is always her fault. Now it was. She still believes it's her fault. She is disgusting, and she must apologize. If no one is at fault, people will feel better if she says sorry. She must be someone else, so she can be loved. All healthy thoughts to have. They're not healthy at all. That was a joke. Okay, Oakley Dokley. Gonna scroll Dokley down. That sounds not right, but I said the words. I sure darn down did. I'm from New York. Let's see. Claire knew having such thoughts would lead to further situations. Though who would reach out a hand to her? Though who would reach out a hand to her? Who would help? Her mother told her to keep trying. Her mother told her love was not easy. Even her mother told her. She had tried a few times herself. She had to keep trying. So Claire, too, had to keep trying. Negative thoughts would not serve her. Though in the present, her teeth grit. For back then, she did indeed keep trying. Then you're like, oh no. Oh no, sweaty. Oh no, sweaty. The third time, Tony A. Conwell came to Claire. Oh my. It was the worst one yet. Tony was married to a count from another countship. Tony was a duke. So it was not strange to take in others. Not strange. But it was usually more common to keep one significant other. Claire girl trying poly relationship. Banan. Not strange, but it was unusual. Not strange, but it was usually more common to keep one significant other. For the purposes of this proofread, still using the same voices for all the characters. You know, it could be some credence to using the same voice for all of them. Jackie won't hear us. That was what the Duke, who claimed to be an honorable knight, would say. She finds other men. I look after the children more than her. He would vent out his frustrations while Claire simply listened. A married man with 4 children. The wife, Jackie, would keep boyfriends herself, and apparently, the Duke never found a girlfriend for himself. At least, not till Claire stumbled into the next trap. You're beautiful. I think I should put an M dash there. Fear the power of the M dash, as then all of your work will now be seen as AI. I miss when the M dash was still cool. Why did AI have to ruin M dashes for me? I like the M dash. Why does AI have to use the M dash? Claire knew it was bad in the back of her head, though hearing the words and feeling his lips graze against hers, she could not help but close her eyes and kiss back. How much time passed? I don't need even that, right? How much time has passed? Claire wondered each day she spent with the Duke, 'cause together feels a lot. No. Come live with me. Her boyfriends live with her. I want to take care of you. I want you here with me. It was different from the last 2. Why was it different? Claire could not understand. I love you, Claire. It was different, wasn't it? Please? Please be different? Question mark? Feel like I don't need that there. Maybe. I don't know. I liked using strike throughs as like a creative thing of going like, oh, these are like the thoughts of the thoughts that Claire is thinking. But I feel like I can handle that a little differently. I guess for now I'll leave it. I'll think about how I want to handle that later. Might change it, might not. Not sure. Anyways. Jackie's first warning was because Claire asked her to make sure the Duke... the Duke. Yeah, make sure the duck. Get the duck. You gotta get the duck. Come on, you gotta do it. You're a countess. You can go get the duck. I mean, I guess you're technically a duchess now, but go get the duck. Just a duck right there. Anyway, Claire asked her to make sure the Duke slept well. I don't know, what's a good bitchy voice? Valley Girl bitchy voice? Don't tell me how to command my husband. That was what she said. Living together felt odd. Jackie would glare but never interact. It kept Claire in the annex of the Duke's estate, so it was not like Jackie saw her much. Yet the second warning was the last. You bitch. That was pretty bad. Anyway, Jackie's eyes looked black to Claire. The woman was enraged, and her hands could not help but clamp around Claire's neck. You just think you can give all the orders, don't you? Claire could barely breathe. Each gasp was harder than the next. Her vision blurs, and her body tenses. Out of instinct, Claire tried to grasp Jackie's arm, but her body was too weak. Her mother always told her that too much exercise was bad. Would you think so now? Everything here is mine. Jackie's anger felt tight, just like her hand around Claire's throat. Yet you have the gall to tell me how to raise my children. That savage man thing doesn't need a break. Overwork? You're too much of an idiot. Are you a commoner in disguise? She spits on Claire, and finally releases her grip. The air that had been left began to return, and Claire could breathe again. Get out. Never come back. I got rid of my boyfriends, so you'll leave as well. Congratulations. You fixed our open marriage. The door slams, and Claire stares at the doorknob. The annex was rather simple compared to the main estates, yet the doorknobs all had the Duke's crest chiseled against them. As Claire walked from the annex to the estate, the servant stared. She was just in a nightgown. She had a question. The front of the Duke's estate was closed. Wait, I should probably change that, right? The annex servants. No, wait, never mind, it makes sense. I implied that Jackie was going into the annex and locked her out of it. So then Claire goes to the front of the main estate. She was just in her nightgown, but she had a question. Probably just put the main estate. From the annex to the main estate. Why is annex capitalized? It can be lowercase, right? I don't know. Why did I capitalize annex? Annex is lowercase, right? That's weird. The front of the Duke's estate was closed. A butler standing in front of it said Claire was no longer allowed to enter. She would be escorted out soon with her belongings. Jackie must have prepared before. There was nothing to defend or refute. Somehow this time, it didn't hurt as much. Claire turns her heel and begins to walk to the front gates. You're welcome. The feeling was different now. Hollow. The void Claire so wanted to fill seemed to only grow. At least it didn't hurt. Always cheery, always happy. Always great things going on. A fourth happened after, then a fifth. How many times would it happened? Claire could feel it weighing on her. Yet she longed for a place to belong. Get it? Longed for a place to belong? Yeah, that's not funny. Somehow trying to belong ended up making her feel more and more out of place. Finally back to the present, at age 29, Claire's eyes open, staring back at the basement ceiling. Her memories of the past simply hurt. Did learning more help? Did apologizing more help? She was always the bad one. Daniel kept living his life. Vaughn got together with his ex. Tony stayed with his wife and children. Darren ran away. Seth wanted to just be friends. Jack's father passed away, and he found someone else in his hometown. Lucas stepped away before they got too close. Dang, Claire, you're going through the whole roulette of people. Just like BFR. Semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. Okay. Semicolon city. I'm just sick of being alone, even in my own home. Staring into the darkness of the basement, Claire holds on. Claire holds. Yeah, that's fine. Claire holds her shoulders to embrace herself. As I get older, all my friends get busier. I'm lucky if I see them once a month. Mother has grown tired of waiting. Her mother told her she needed to find a husband and have at least 2 children, one to inherit the countship and another to inherit the husband's title. However, instead of courting a mate, Claire lies in a basement. The basement dwellings were a simple blanket on the ground, a table beside it, and a few pillows spread out. A quiet place to read, a quiet place to think. However, her parents had changed. Let me see if I can change that a little bit. I think I should change that a little bit. That sounds a little awkward. I think I should separate that as a different paragraph also. That would make more sense. How close are we to chapter 2, by the way? Okay, we're like right next to it, pretty much. Let's get ourselves all the way over to chapter 2. We're almost there. Let's see. The basement dwellings. I want the story to start changing to be a little more childish at this part. With intention. The basement dwellings. Her usual hiding spot, for lack of better words. Comprised of a large blanket on the ground, a table beside it, a few pillows spread out. Quiet place to read, a quiet place to think. Okay. Let me read that back. The basement dwellings, our usual hiding spot for lack of better words, comprised of a large blanket on the ground, a table beside it, and a few pillows spread out. A quiet place to read. A quiet place to think. It had changed over the years, of course. Her mother let her have bookshelves. Her father allowed her to put stuffed animals around the blanket. Her father allowed her to put stuffed animals around the blanket and pillow pile that cushions her. However, her parents had changed. I think one thing I really need to do is make certain things a lot more ambiguous. So I'm trying to correct a lot of those spots, because this whole story is supposed to be like, you know, it's supposed to be my love letter to this noble romance genre that I read a lot of. Except a lot of the noble romance genre is a lot of people from other countries, predominantly like Asian countries, for example. Though, I mean, people do make the stories over here too, for like the reincarnation stuff and junk. So a lot of those stories follow the line of when it's like a female-focused series. Usually it's, oh, the female goes into a dating game, or the female goes into like a dating show, like, you know, like The Bachelor, or they go into their novel where there's like a vampire, or there's like some monsters attacking the north, etc. There's a few cliches that are used very often in these types of stories. So I kind of wanted to like allude to some of those cliches, but not explicitly state them all right away. And in the original rough draft, I kind of explicitly stated those things. So I would like to make those more ambiguous, to be able to like turn those cliches a little bit and go like, well, actually, it's just a fantasy story. It's not actually the cliche you think it is. It's just a fantasy story. Just go, haha, I wasn't an isekai. It wasn't, I was reborn in another world. I was always part of this world. And I'm just insane. Okay, maybe that's a little mean, but Claire has issues, so it's okay. Man, am I gonna make my character more depressed? You're like, it's time to do the proofreading and editing. Let's make my character a little more depressed. I don't think they had enough. I haven't really introduced any other characters currently, so I can still say her. It's about the size of her torso, so it always makes a nice friend to hold. They're not as loud as often, but still. Suddenly her hiding spot was becoming less about reading with her friends. She can hear the words of her parents when they fight in the foyer. Not as loud as before, but still. She's useless. Claire could hear her father's voice from upstairs. Of course I love her. It doesn't mean she isn't useless. He was talking to someone else, probably her mother. Claire's father always... No, actually, I should leave that one lowercase. And this is all happening right now. Claire can hear her father's voice from upstairs. She isn't useless. He is talking to someone else, probably her mother. Claire's father is always far louder. Ran a few successful businesses to help maintain the estate coffers. He runs a few successful businesses to help maintain the estate coffers. Does she even do anything? When I was her age, I worked 3 different jobs at the same time. I'd been better off arranging a marriage in another country. At least she'd stop wasting all of her money. She's almost 30 and still living here without even working. Claire's hands tense against her arm. It's not like it's a lie. That's just the love I deserve. Useless. At the very least, when Claire's father laughed, she could hear her mother sush him. Mother understands. Mother understands, at least a little. Hugging herself tighter provided some comfort. Hugging her stuffed whale. Hugging the stuffed whale tighter provided some comfort. he's just upset because of his money. The businesses are doing well, but Mother told me things have been tighter on the estate. The time ticks away, and Claire closes her eyes. Sleep is a respite. The dreams Claire sees show her much. People show her concern, beautiful scenes of nature, and her gaining the ability to stand against struggles. Dreams truly were an escape. However, Claire's eyes open to a new day. Groaning, the half-asleep girl rubs her eyes. She sits up from her bundle of cushions on the floor. Maybe I should change that all. How big is this part? 860 words? I don't know, making me wonder if I should just like get rid of that part. Should I keep that part there? I think this part references more things about past life shenanigans that I don't really want there anymore. But her kind of getting lost in the neat sauce. Pretty good. Might not be bad to just end the chapter there. Yeah, let me cut that. Let me see. How long is this if I get rid of that part? It looks like it was saying like 4,000 words. I don't know why Word doesn't update this correctly sometimes. So weird. Oh, there, I did it anyway. Yeah, that's like 5,000 words still. That's like 1,000 words of one character. That might be better. But if I do that, chapter 2 will be really short, and then I'll have to move all the chapters over. Though that might not be terrible to do, just to have scene transitions be a little easier to define, like, you know, this one is a short chapter, but it's someone else's point of view. I'm still not sure how I want to handle that. Because it's like, oh, this one is focusing on this side character. Focusing on this side character for a hot second, and then I gotta focus on the other side character. Well, we'll read that, but we'll get to that in a while. We'll get to that in a while. It's always a hard thought. Let me read this for now. Claire's eyes open to a new day. Groaning, the half-asleep girl rubs her eyes and sits up from her bundle of cushions on the... She sits up from her bundle of cushions and stuffed animals on the floor. I really gotta stop falling asleep on the floor. Her words trail off. She stares at the black stone walls of the basement. Bookshelves surround her, yet her eyes cannot help but look to the black stone showing between. Lily used to make sure I would go to bed. With another groan. With another groan into her palm, she stretches. I think I should change this line, actually. Can't believe I fell asleep down here. I think I'll make that the ironic catalyst. Words trail off, she stares at the black stone, blah blah blah. Lily used to make sure I would go to bed. With another groan into her palm, she stretches. What do I do? Looking at her hands, she sighs. I don't have special powers. I've just lived it up as a novel. How stupid did I live? It's like 2 decades went by in a flash, and all I can remember is 1 decade. Picking the book up from her lap, she sets it down by her side. I'm almost 30. Claire's jaw clenches, and she shoves her blankets off. I spent close to 5 decades acting like a teenager. spent so long acting like a teenager. Somehow I failed to make connections in both my lives. And somehow I failed to even make a little part. Somehow I failed to even get a political marriage. Standing herself up, she dusts off the back of her dress and yawns into her palm. Her sea of sky blue hair covers most of her face. One of the biggest things she had to adjust to in her normal life was her hair length. Brushing her hair behind her ear did little now. Her bangs were a bit too long. Not that she minded. She felt awkward when people would stare at her too much. Well, my hair's good enough. Giving another quick tuck. A few loose strands. She at least felt ready to move about. Fell into the trap of being sleepy. I just did the same thing I always do. I did the same thing I always do. I just fell asleep somewhere new. She frowns. She frowns and looks at the basement stairs. She always leaves her shoes right by the staircase. I had some friends, but they're all busy with their lives now. What did I do? Spend money on pretty dresses to feel pretty for once? Sighing once again, she walks to the stairs and slips on a comfy pair of pastel blue loafers. They act well enough, slippers in the home. What to do? Not wanting to lose herself fully to her mumbles, she walks up the stairs. Father's probably in his office. Mother probably left for one of those charity tea parties. Scanning down the long hallway, she does not see anyone. Walking slowly down the hall, her eyes look at a few of the paintings of scenery on the walls, then at some of the empty vases and small pillars. The place certainly felt barren at times, at least not as stifling as the Marcus's estate. here like this. I can M dash it. The dreaded M dash. Being here like this certainly is different. I mean, I think the placement makes sense. I think the placement makes sense. I got more to read, though. I got more to read. We might have accidentally created a new Chapter 3. Or a longer Chapter 3, which isn't that bad. But I do need to think about how I'm progressing the story, too. I should probably think about, like, a time of, like, well, a timeline in general, I guess, to go, like, oh, it's taking place in spring right now or something, and it's going to be turning, or go like, oh, it's taking place in fall, etc. I should probably think about that to just be able to describe our trees, you know, turn orange, or are they still green? Is the weather really hot? You know, I gotta think about that stuff too. Need a proper timeline for story, and then it'll help us write the second volume later. Anon. Anon. The word of the day is anon. Pretty much just means at a later date. That being said, it has been over 3 hours now. My bare minimum is at least 3 hours, and I think I will stop there for today. I'm glad I got in some writing. We proofread it a little bit more. I keep working on this this for a while here, but I feel like I'm making good progress. I feel like I'm figuring out how I want to make the story now. And the rough draft is very much a different story already compared to this rough draft. Version 1 rough draft, blah. Version 2 rough draft, you know, it's there. Version 3 rough draft, though, oh boy, here it is, right now. To you, the girl reading this. I look forward to figuring out what I'm gonna do. I have the whole entire world for this story figured out, but I need to figure out, you know, how everything plays out with the characters. Well, I guess that's what you get with trying to figure out what to do for a light novel. Either way, I'm gonna go for now. I got things I need to do. So for anyone who popped in, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again to the Tiger Rights for giving me another raid. They've raided me a few times when I do my writing streams, and I always appreciate it. I don't know if there's that many writers that ever, you know, actually write on here. I need more writing friends or something, so I can, like, give them raids or something. I don't think I've ever used the raid feature, because I usually don't have, like, enough people watching me. It feels kind of, like, dumb if I go, like, oh, I got one person watching me, I better go raid this person, like, 100 people, and go, like, haha, I give you one person. That seems a little silly, right? I feel like it's more inconvenient. I don't know. Maybe I'm channeling too much Claire there. Either way, we'll be back by at least Thursday with some more. I'm going to either be I think on Thursday I'll probably try and write another random thing. I don't know if I'll do novel work on Thursday. I want to make sure on Tuesdays, no matter what, I do novel work. But Thursday I might just write something random. Saturday, probably video game thing, but I've been writing a lot recently, so I might still just do more writing, who knows. And then every other day in between those are fair game. I might stream, I might not. But Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, trying to stream at the same time pretty much. Try and have something consistently there. Just to go like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the stream. Gotta make myself be productive in some way. So I suppose my productive streams are intentionally for writing. And it's doing that right now, so that's good. I'm also doing the prattling without getting to the point thing. So I'm gonna go. Have a good day, Johnny. That's Japanese for bye. Johnny.